Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So I've had a really rough week, so thank you all for the warm welcome. My name is Lamont Turner, or Monty, and I'm a student, I'm a writer, and I grew up gay in an apostolic church where they do a lot of screaming, yelling, and running around the sanctuary. It was not a reconciling church, but as far as churches go, I would say it wasn't too bad. I was fortunate in that homosexuality was never a topic preached against or about, and the don't ask, don't tell climate of that church actually served as a protective space where I could be present and receive the benefits of a religious community without exposure to the more harmful sermons of sexual repression, internal damnation that so many LGBT people are subjected to. But I was not comfortable in that space, nor did I feel that I was genuinely accepted. In fact, the more that I began to become aware of my sexual orientation, the more agitated I became. In a space where that claimed to be a house of hope and healing, and a church welcome for all people, positioned me in the segregated space of other, where my presence was tolerated but not celebrated. I marked my official coming out date as November 21st, 2010. It was around that time that I had shared my sexuality with my cousin, an evangelist at our family church. Her daughter was also gay and had been one of the first people to come out in our family. Being that front runner meant that she would also receive the brunt of the backlash, which came in the form of theological reprimand, so that after a while she began to move back into a space of closeted being in which is reminiscent of a success story in reparative therapy through prayer. And in speaking with her, she provided me with several warnings and expectations for my life as an out gay person. Expectations that included depression, which I have overcome, disease, which I have avoided, and suicide, and obviously I'm still here. It was a warning against the adversity that LGBT people often face in our society. One that I am actually grateful for, because it provided me with awareness of the pitfalls awaiting me as I navigated living openly and authentically. So our mother, the evangelist, took it upon herself to continue her crusade to save the gays by bringing me up to the altar at our church on at least 3 different occasions for prayer, and what I have jokingly named my exorcism. With her palm to my forehead, the evangelist prayed over me for the rebuking of demons, and that I be kept from any harm by Satan. And in that moment, I felt at peace. I felt as if I'd been placed in a bubble where the weight of homophobia and fear lifted off of me. And so I'm proud to say that her prayer was successful, though not in the way in which she intended. Not in the manner of suppressing my sexuality. Instead, she empowered my confidence in self, not in the way of causing emotional and psychological damage, but instead bringing me closer to my internal voice and guardian. I think now of the scriptures that speaks of God using what others meant to harm you for your own good. However, mine is a less common narrative. More often, LGBT people's experiences with the church are ones of humiliation, verbal antagonizing, and irreparable scarring of the psyche and spirit. These are young people turned away from what are supposed to be safe spaces, where love is experienced boundlessly, and community works to empower, enrich, and uplift young people's lives, rather than abandoning and destroying them. Street gangs would sooner accept these youths that churches turn away. Drug abuse, alcoholism, unsafe sex, among many others, come in as pacifiers for the emotional hurt and spiritual voids experienced by LGBT folks in religious communities and abroad. This is why reconciling ministries are so important. It is not enough for us to adopt a don't ask, don't tell policy and assume everyone will feel accepted and valued in religious spaces. We can't slap an all are welcome title in the slogan of our churches and think that diversity will come marching through the doors. The culture of the church remains stagnant and ineffective in making a meaningful difference in people's lives. Somebody has to take the initiative to explicitly acknowledge and affirm the existence of LGBT people seeking to grow and express their faith in a community in which to do it. And that begins with reconciling ministries, but it doesn't end there. Relationship is what matters. I met Pastor April, Summit UMC. I met Pastor Lucy, and I met Sheila. And it was with these three that I spent many evenings, many lunch hours, talking or sitting in silence, being in each other's presence, building relationship. It was in this way that I, as a gay person, began to become more comfortable in religious spaces and heal the emotional wounds that had been caused at my previous home church. It was through these conversations without the additive to come to church, pressure to convert to any specific faith, that I was able to have the space to grow on my own terms, at my own pace. I had gone through periods of atheism and agnosticism, knowing all the while that I believed deeply in my heart that God loved me. So I want to challenge you all, before you go out this weekend and thereafter, to begin building relationships with those who have visible and unseen differences.